Here, play guitar, answer questions, so maybe play some things you asked me to play if I remember it. I don't remember much at 10 in the morning, but whatever, you guys can run this thing however y'all want to do it, and we'll rock. So let me just get warmed up a little bit. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good. Anybody have any questions or anything? Okay. What's that? What do you say?
Let's play.
Let's play? What's this let's thing? You want to come up and play? Let's jam, dude. Oh, just me play? Okay. Play some more. Somebody's got to have a question now.
Are you classically trained a lot?
No, not really. I mean, semi. My ears are more trained, I think, than my brain is, as far as technically knowing what things are, and having a lot of experience with classical music. But I really like classical music, but I haven't really technically studied it, so to speak. Other questions? Questions? Yeah, there you go.
You have perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch? My ear has perfect pitch, but my hands don't. If you know what I mean. I can definitely hear anything that's the slightest bit out of tune, but I try to play that way, but sometimes, you know, it's hard to play perfectly. Yeah, but I can definitely hear well enough when something needs to be done again, for example. Other questions?
When you go into the studio, how do you go about writing your guitar solo and structuring them? Do you just improvise and then go back and figure it out?
Both ways, yeah. A lot of times I like to improvise and figure it out later, you know, 'cause sometimes you just get that inspiration when you hear the music. Usually what happens is I'll improvise and then, like, I'll think a little bit more. I'll look at the bullshit solo that I improvised and I see what kind of landscape it has to it, you know, and then I say, well, you know, maybe if I start off with something like this and change the middle here and change a little of that, you know, I do a lot of improvising at first, and then once I have a rough skeleton, kind of a crap solo going, then I really start to get into details. And by the time it's finished, it seems really worked out, but just by the way I play naturally, I follow a lot of chords and stuff, so when you follow chords, stuff sounds worked out where, even though it might be improvised. Other questions? More questions? More questions. Guys with the video cameras gotta have a question.
Yeah, I do. Actually, when you and Dave are writing, let me take this out right here. When you and Dave are writing, is it more or less, how do you go about it? Do you have like a lot of inspirations, like, or any of the, on the new album that you have, or any of them the ones that you wrote, as far as that goes?
The way I write with Dave is, usually he comes up with a basic riff, like the rhythm or something like that, and the basic background of the song. And I come up with little melodic changes and twists and turns and fills and textures and little things that make the chord changes maybe more melodic and more unusual, so to speak. You know, and sometimes I do quite the opposite. I play something that makes something he writes sound more normal. Because a lot of this stuff is like really whacked, you know, when he comes up with a riff. Like, for example, on Trust, his riff is something like... His riff is something like this. He's doing something like that, which by itself is like, dude, what is going on here? You know, it's a cool riff,
Right.
but it's also 5 against 4, you know, and normal people don't really think in 5 against 4. So what I did was I put a chord progression over that, a real normal top 40 chord progression over that. So he's going, and I'm going, I'm playing all these chords over that, so kind of bring it down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
So that's one case where he does something that's kind of odd and I do something that's kind of normal. That's usually what I do when I write. You know, I don't really like to write from the bottom up. I like to start with something that's already there. And since Dave has always got like tons of riffs and stuff, there's no lack of material for me to add to.
Thanks.
Other question?
Hey, what do you think of hard rock in LA these days? What are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it? Good question.
How can you help?
You know, LA doesn't represent the rest of the country, unfortunately, because it's an industry city. You know, that's why this type of thing's here. It's an industry city, and so is New York. So that's why radio in those two cities are different from the rest of the country. Like, if you go to any other normal city like Phoenix or Cleveland or Chicago, they got rock radio, they got rock gigs going on, rock is still alive. But here, it's like everybody's trying to out-trend the other person, you know, so the radio reflects what's going on. But the industry people, and the industry people, as you all probably know, are not really the normal kids going to concerts and stuff, you know. They're strictly business, you know, and trying to keep up on the trends. So there's no real reason to play rock and roll on these stations. You know, we'd love it, you know, being in LA, but normal America and regular America, you know, anywhere you go, you're going to have rock radio. But LA is, you know, it's a different animal, and you just can't expect to have it here. So I wish I could help you, but I could say move to Cleveland or something. It does rock over there. I mean, you go to Chicago and it's totally rocking, but it's a business town here. And then?
You play the Solo to Trust.
Solo to Trust. Let me try to do that. We'll try it from that. Sort of it, yeah.
Marty.
Why
Yes.
Jackson?
Why Jackson? Good question, being that we're in the Jackson booth. Basically, doing the schedule, touring and gigging and recording and basically beating the crap out of guitars as much as I do, I really couldn't imagine another guitar that would hold up to that as well. You know, it seems like I haven't had any problems with my guitar. It's always in tune and always sounds good, and I have no problems with it. And I'm not really a technical guy who knows like about woods and pickups and knobs and buttons and stuff, you know, but I know if something's fucking up on me in front of 10,000 people, I know that right away, you know. If it happens more than once, you know, I'm out of here, you know, and I can't even remember having any problem with my guitars on for years, you know, and you know, I can't give you a real technical answer why this wood is better than that wood, but it just works.
Marty, at the beginning of Take No Prisoners.
Fuck, I knew somebody was going to do that.
Shit, bro.
What, are you one of Nick's friends?
No, Cheese friend.
Whose?
Cheese.
Okay. I don't think I know that intro, but I'll...
Yeah, yes.
I can't do it. That was close, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, it was.
Explain the rhythm technique used for training consequences in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll play that for you. It's basically just strumming.
You're muting it up there and not with your palm?
I'm muting it mainly with my palm, but I'm also muting it here just to double be safe. You know, muting is not my strongest suit, so I'm just muting the hell out of it to make sure it dies. Yeah. Some people ask me about that. That was not really my thing, you know, but that's how it goes. Other questions?
How about the solo for Skin of My Teeth?
Solo for Skin of My Teeth. Let's try that. Okay?
Very nice.
Thanks. Other questions?
How's like your love with Japan? Like, have you heard anything like from Japan, like in like hearing koto music and things like that, influence your playing at all?
Yeah, a lot before, you know. I really thought the sound of that was an interesting thing to add to guitar playing, you know, and just because you should know the way certain instruments sound, not that I want to go into a big koto solo during a Megadeth.
Well, no, but I'm like saying like the influence on that, on the Japanese culture, things like that, influence your playing.
Oh yeah,
Guitar.
especially music over there, because over in Japan, music is a bigger thing over there than it is
Right.
here in America, you know. Like everybody at least knows something about music or has done it in school from when they were little, you know. Here it's a little bit less, you know. Over there, you know, everybody has sort of got an ear for music. I mean, they sing just for fun over there, you know. People go out on the weekend and they go to do karaoke, you know, and then they don't do that over here, you know. That's a real big deal over there. So everybody's kind of musical over there, and there's just so many different kinds of music to listen to over there. The pop music scene is so diverse, and of course, when you have a country like any country, China or India, with a long history, a couple thousand years, you know that music has evolved quite a bit, you know, and we're just getting into AC/DC over here, so it's really a well of information to go to any foreign country and kind of dip into what makes their music tick. Other questions?
You are the babies from the dust.
Angels from the Dust. Other questions? Maybe we'll just play a little bit, maybe get warmed up. little stiff. What's up? Any other questions? You just gotta ask me something.
What do you do to warm up?
Basically this. Just try to play, try to play something and something that moves your fingers around a little bit. And, just anything, Doesn't really matter, just playing it all warms you up, and I think I'm pretty guilty of not warming up enough, I like to just go in and play. I don't like to sit around warming up, I do gigs all the time, you rarely have time to properly warm up, with a routine of chromatic scales or whatever, so usually it's just you hand you your guitar and you go play, and then I don't think that's the most healthy thing to do, so I try to warm up when I can, but I don't really have a set thing of what I do. I like to just come in and kind of face the pressure of just having to jam cold and fuck up a few times, and then get loosen up and all that.
I used to read your article at Guitar School, the full shred. It stopped being in there. Whatever. Do you have any more?
It's in Guitar World now.
Guitar World?
Yeah. All you have to do is change magazines.
All right, cool.
I noticed, like, in most of your playing, you rarely ever tap. Do you not like tapping, or?
Even more than rarely ever, never.
Yeah. You just not like it?
I'm not good at it. I don't like the way it looks. Don't really care for the way it sounds, and just never have that. There's so many other guys who do that so well. Why should I even? It's just not something that I hear. Good question now. Elvis never tapped.
How about sweeps? Last time I was here, you said you were real big on sweeps, and I see what you looks like you're doing. It's like half sweeps, a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of anything that goes blip, 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 and it's just not my thing, It's not something. Plus, the way I pick, it'd probably be impossible to really do it, because I try to let all the strings ring and not mute the strings with my right hand, so I'm not going like this. So I think the sweeping technique is something like that, right? If I'm not mistaken. And since my hand's always like this, I can't really get to all the strings. So when I do like a chord or something, I might go like that. I don't really do anything that goes up, down, up, down. I kind of mix it. It doesn't really sweep like that. I try to do something that I can get in and out of easily, and not do all 4s and 8s and 12s and 16s, like the numbers to be odd sometimes. Other question? busy stuff when warm up. But yeah, I'm trying to think of your question. I don't rarely ever kind of do that kind of thing with my right hand. Other questions, comments, complaints? Jason Becker. Probably be answering this a lot today. I wish he was doing better. You know, he's got very serious disease, and he's still alive, and he's still got a great attitude, and he's still trying to write music. It's very, very difficult, you know, but I'm telling him often that he's got a lot of fans around the world that are hoping that he gets better soon, you know, so he's got a really good attitude.
Marty, did you work with Dan Huff on this album? What was that like?
That was great, you know, because he's such a good guitar player, you know, and just knowing that a really good guitar player is there pushing the buttons for you kind of gives you an ego trip, you know. It's like, wow, you know, he's better than I am, and he's running the machine, you know. So I wanted to play my best every day, you know, to impress him and shit, you know. It was important to me, you know, because it's like, wow, the guy's sitting right there. If I don't do something cool, he's going to say, well, give me that guitar, I'll play something cool there. But he didn't really want to play anything, but we had a great time, you know, and I didn't really learn too much guitar off him, but I think I wound up thinking more because I was trying to impress him, you know. Always before, you know, I've had great engineers and producers and stuff, but never one that's such a good guitar player. So, you know how it is, if you're a guitar player and you're sitting in a room with another good guitar player, you know, your mind frame is totally different. And doing that on a regular basis, you know, studio is so much fun, you know, having the opportunity to jam for him, you know. I kept saying when I finished a solo work part, I'm like, dude, if you heard that, would you think that's cool? You know, if you heard somebody else play that, would you think that's cool, you know? And at the beginning, the first solo I did some crap solo. I think he didn't really know much about my guitar playing, and first solo I did like this first take, this crap solo, and then he goes, dude, that's great, that's really cool. I'm like, dude, do you think I suck or something? Are you trying to like get the thing going? I mean, he obviously didn't know what I was capable of. I did some total garbage solo. And he said, yeah, that's the one, man, that's really good. Let's go to the next one now. I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're dealing with. I'm going to be sitting here for hours doing solos, so get ready for it. But it was very humbling, you know, just knowing someone that talented was in the same room with you.
When you first started doing solos, what did you concentrate on the most? Like some scales or picking technique?
Ace Frehley.
You started by playing solos from other artists?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I didn't even deal with my own thing, you know. I just wanted to, like, play guitar, you know. And in my band, the other guy was a real good rhythm player, so I got elected to be the lead player, and I didn't really care either way. I just wanted to play, so you know, I learned the easiest leads that I could figure out, and then I just kind of fashioned mine around that and took it from there. I didn't really get into, you wanted a technical answer, and it was probably just developing my ear, learning melodies, learning other guys' melodies. I remember I listened to a lot of Blue Oyster Cult and stuff, and Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush. And
Have scales ever been a thing for you, or?
You have to know scales to, like, know patterns and stuff, and when you learn a lot of other people's music, you see patterns and scales and things that people repeat over and over again. Hey, that must be a scale, you know, or whatever. But I never really got into like, okay, let's learn 500 different scales in the books, you know, and remember what the difference is between each one. And so that's a bad thing and a good thing. The good thing is I don't get locked into playing stuff that sounds like scales. The bad thing is sometimes if you're lazy, you know, you can say, oh, I'll just go into this scale and solo over it, and it sounds good, you know. I don't really have that. I have to always think and play melodically. So there's an up and down side to that. You know, a lot of jazzers and even rock players know all about modes and scales and all that stuff, and they can just hop into a mode and let it rip. But I'm not really that kind of player, you know. I really try to melodically match what's going on musically.
So what is your basis in theory?
My basis of theory is just my ear. Try to do something that is something that would be sung. I mean, I don't think a guitar, in rock context anyway, I'm not talking about jazz or anything else, I'm in a rock band, so I think it's got to be something that can be sung, that if it were a voice, it would have the emotion of a voice, and at some point might contain something that will impress people, possibly. I mean, that's the least on the list. Most important thing is that it's like a voice, like a human element to it, because, I mean, first thing I'll get cut out of a song is a solo. You know, if you have a hit song, you know, first thing the record company's going to do is cut the solo out. So if you look at great soloists like Brian May, his solos didn't get cut out, and that's probably because his solos are very lyrical and beautiful, you know, and just think about people who've had huge hit songs, you know, the solos are always history, you know, even Peter Frampton, you know, the solos got cut out of his own songs, he's a guitar player. Bryan Adams, #1 song, solos still intact, you know, what does that tell you? You know, a great soloist. So I try to keep that in mind, you know, really vocal thing. It's like another vocalist, you know, the lead singer takes a break, and then the lead guitar player does his little vocal.
But I was referring more to music theory as, because you seem to conflict saying, like you do all of the exotic kind of
Right, that.
stuff. And then you say, well, I don't know what I'm playing, you know, so
Well, I know, but I
do you
don't.
actually have music theory background, or you...
Well, see, I know if I'm playing an A and then I hit that note, there's a flat fifth there. I know that much, and I know where my target notes are, but I couldn't tell you, like, the history of the name of the mode of the scale that I'm alluding to, because sometimes in a passage, I might allude to more than one scale, like one passage that comes to mind goes somebody... that type of thing, and I'm using all these familiar phrases, but I guess scale-wise, I'm mixing up 3 or 4 different phrases, you know. There's notes that sound like bad notes in there, but if I slide over them fast enough, they sound cool. But I try not to do something that sounds like this. Sounds like, okay, you're in one scale, or you know what I mean, like.
But,
you know, I try to break it up.
Like, say, Ace Frehley or Frank Marino.
It's all melodies. Well, Marino is like, see, if I could play pentatonic scales as good as Frank Marino, that's all I would do, you know. But, you know, take Ace Frehley, for example, you know, people cut him down, they say this and that, but shit, man, he's got like 500 songs, and all the solos sound different. He probably used one scale of them, you know, so what does that tell you? When most guys play in one scale, it sounds very much the same from song to song. You know, it sounds exactly the same. It sounds like the solos are interchangeable, and his never were, you know, be it they were simple, they're simple enough for like kids who just started playing to play. And that's huge, you know, when you're talking about selling billions of records and concert tickets, you know, kids want to go home and say, shit, I want to play that. You know, if you go in there and you play Beethoven's Fifth on guitar, you know, kids are going to maybe try to play that, and they're going to say, oh, fuck this, I'll just go back and, you know, build model airplanes or something, you know. But I really like it when solos differ from song to song, and those are the guys I respect, you know, and so I'm getting off your scale thing again, but I don't really know.
But you did sort of a pentatonic thing that said, I would play something like that. That was the example.
Yeah, I wouldn't play something like that as being something that would be a trademark thing of mine. You know, my stuff that usually makes it to record goes through a lot of different...
Those were the guys that influenced you originally.
Oh yeah, those guys, you know, shit. Influences are one thing, what you turn into is another, you know. On a grander scale, I just like guys whose solos sound different from song to song and are a good addition to the song. That's what really impresses me, regardless if they play what kind of music they play, you know, what kind of melodic concepts they do. You know, I just really like stuff that sounds different from song to song. Oh, I'm getting the high sign here, so if there's one more question, you abridge the whole thing and put it together. Cool, well I'll be coming back here 2 o'clock to do another one of these, so thanks for coming, I appreciate it very much.